Sorry guys, I've been super busy, been moving. I don't even have like a setup area for me to record, so it's been kind of difficult with me, but kind of getting back in the routine of things. But this is part 3 on how to get your ex back. Now this is going to be going in a different direction. You know, a lot of the stuff that we talked about are dealt with the physical world, and a lot of tactics and techniques that you can do to get your ex back. And a lot of the times you'll realize in time, which is the whole point of no contact, they will come back. Or if, you know, even if you give them time and you give it some time and then you lose self-control and you hit them up. You know, I've done that before in the past. That to no avail, you know, sometimes works also. But first we got to get into why no contact usually works on everybody. So even in the first 2 videos that I made, I know a lot of guys are gonna see success. Why is that? Because as human beings in general, we are wired to respond to loss, whether that be a loss of a life, loss of someone outside of your life. Because you got to think about it like this. This is really powerful, and I think a lot of people can testify to it, that as human beings, when a lot of the times when you have something in your life, you take it for granted, right? You take it for granted, and a lot of the times you want the things that you can't have in your life, right? So the things that you do have, you kind of take it for granted, and then you kind of want the things that you can't have when you don't have it, right? But then when you already have something and then you lose it, something that you in fact took for granted, you know what happens? Usually people start to become frantic. Usually people start to panic. Usually people start to, you know, just really go haywire, because it's something you had. You took it for granted, but now it's like, fuck. And this is why a lot of guys panic when their girl pulls away. But initially, that is not the right thing to do. You don't want to be the person in that position. But this is one of the reasons why no contact usually works. You know, another thing is when you don't reach out, especially if you've already been doing it and the person wanted space and you were trying to give them space and they didn't want it. Usually what happens is you become a bit unpredictable, especially if, like, at first, you know, if you were hitting them up and then you stop hitting them up, and then with some time, it's like, damn, like, what's going on with this guy? Like, what is he doing? I wonder what the hell he even has going on, right? You become unpredictable, and then it leaves their mind to wander. And by default, I would say 98% of people think from a negative position. Most people, they think very negative. So they're going to think maybe, oh, he's out with somebody else. He got somebody else. Or he's probably out with this other person. Or this and that and the third, you know. So they're automatically going to assume the worst. And then they're going to start creating this narrative in their mind that you're gone. And I probably lost this person because I, in fact, pushed them away, right? But that is not always the case. Sometimes they could just, in fact, miss you, right? They could just, in fact, miss you and be like, damn, well, I had them. And then usually if you've seen the last video, if you throw into the fading effect bias, they usually only start to think of the positive things of you. They usually let go of the negative. They only start to think about the positive, and they see you more in a positive light, and they think about the good qualities. And you almost forget what was their reason ever for pulling away, right? And another thing that happens is when you go no contact, you're creating a type of scarcity on your time, a value on you, on your person, right? Because you're not around. And because you're not around where you were previously around, and what little time you did had, they took that for granted. But now they're not, because you're not around at all. And now there's a scarcity on you, on your value, on your time, on your person, because you're not around at all for them at all. So if you were never in a position of knowing how to create scarcity on your time and scarcity on your value, there's that, right? Now you're in a position where that can happen. And usually this is why no contact usually works for a lot of guys, because most guys aren't doing this. So this way, you know, when they finally start to do it, it's like, holy shit, like, yeah, that's damn, all I really had to do was to fix my issues, right? And another thing is, when somebody knows that you honestly really, really love them, and they know how you strongly feel about them, because they're like, and they start questioning, like, there's no way that they don't love me anymore. There's no way that he's just gonna stop talking to me. I know he or she loves me. I know she loves me 100%. Look how they used to act all before. I know 100% they love me, right? So it's like, when they know this, and you still choose not to talk to them, their respect for you is going to go a lot higher, because it's like, wow, he has the balls, or she has the balls to not talk to me and leave me alone, and I know they love me. So it's like, damn, like, yeah, that respect for you works. That respect for you is going to be very high. So then you ask, this is why no contact works, but does it work 100% of the time? Does it on 100% of people? No, it doesn't. So what will? What will work 100% of the time, 100% guaranteed that you will get your ex back? Do I have the answer? Of course I got the answer, Sway. And before we get into this will be like a fucking movie. It's going to literally be a movie. And what you got to understand is, with this process, you have to be patient. You have to be patient. You cannot expect to put a time limit on it. You cannot expect to put a certain time determination. This is not like setting a goal for a specific item or a car, or you're talking about human beings here. You're talking about people with consciousness. You're talking about people with souls. So you cannot do what you call putting an expectation on it. There's a lot of different things that can happen that will lead you to your result. And in fact, and the reason why this next step of the video is going to be such a movie and is going to be very extensive, and why you have to be patient when implementing this process, is it actually goes into science. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about is quantum physics. Another thing that we're going to be talking about is, the law of attraction, the law of assumption, and learning when to let things go. And just because you let things go, that doesn't mean that your desire is gone. That doesn't mean that you're giving up on it. There are a lot of different techniques that we haven't tried before, that you have never seen on my page before, that you've never seen on Patreon before, that will be implemented. There are a lot of different things. So with this process, I need you guys to be patient. I need you guys to be understanding. And I need you to follow the rules to the T. To the T. And I promise you, 100%, you will get any person back. And you have to understand time in a different manner. You have to understand time in a different way. You have to look at time in a different way. If you think about 1 month or 2 months or 3, 4, 5, 6 months in comparison to 10, 20, 30 years, it's nothing. And sometimes it may take months, sometimes it may take weeks, but it all depends on your faith in this process. And that's what I'm telling you. You have to have faith in the process, and science can back it up. And this is what we're going to get into now. So let's get into this shit, and 100%, I guarantee you, whoever you want back, we're going to get them back.
To understand Ho'oponopono, at least in my opinion, is that its philosophy is that there is nothing outside of you. It's all an illusion. There's a little bit of Buddhism in there and a little bit of Jungian psychology in there, because it's saying that everything else is a mirror. And so if there's anything on the outside that's bothering you, it's not really the outside. I know when the therapist, Dr. Hulen, and I did seminars together, one of his favorite questions would be, have you ever noticed that when you have a problem, you are there?
Okay, guys, sorry to cut it short, but if you want the rest of this video, you got to be on Patreon. Or what you can do is you can send, I think it's a $45 or $50 fee to the Cash App. Screenshot it, you send it to me on Instagram, or you can send it to my assistant. Text the number that you use to book consultations, verify it, and we will send you the link. Now, this is going to be a movie link, and if it is not done yet, you will be put on the list and you will be sent. It will be sent to you, and this is how you guarantee you get anyone back. But before you do this, guys, I just want to make sure you know that. Think and understand and know if this person is worth having them back. Because there's a lot of processes you have to go into doing this. There's a lot of processes you have to understand that the effort that you put into this can be all taken away once you get them back, because you didn't evaluate your situation and understand that if this person is the right person for you. But let's get back into it.
Look, shorty, she a vibe, she a ting. Fire, something like a vibe, everything. Oh my bad, I'm just thinking all the obvious things. We could put the small talk and I can buy you a ring.